I want you to stay with me. I want you to stay, don't leave. I want you to walk with me. I want you to walk with me. 'Cause I've been searching for so long to find someone to share my heart with, Lord. And I have taken you for granted, and I can't afford to lose you, my love. I want you to talk with me. I want you to talk, talk with me. I want you to stay with me. I want you to stay. Don't leave. Cause I can't settle for a life without you, Lord. I know I can't survive, no. You are my reason, my inspiration, and I am willing to change all my ways. Cause I can't settle for a life without you, Lord. I know I can't survive, no. You are my reason, inspiration, my inspiration, and I am willing to change all my ways. I want you to stay. I want you to stay.
I was trying to find the button. I'm like, Mike's going hot. I can't find the button. I'm so sorry, ladies and gentlemen. This is the night edition. Tune in. Share this with somebody. Let them know that we are live. And Jay is up past his bedtime.
For sure. I know good and well.
Darian Brister's up past his bedtime. And listen, I'm going to decrease while the table increases. So y'all never mind me tonight. It's just I'm glad for the company tonight. And when I say this is going to be a real good one, it's going to be a real good one. They're all good, but this is going to be a real good one because I get to sit back and listen to the dialogue with someone else at the table besides me up here running my mouth. All right. But the guests we have on tonight, I've already noticed from the gate that they not losing me at the table tonight because that same kind of I don't care energy is in the room on tonight. Brother's so special, I let him use my headphones. You hear what I'm saying? And so anytime you come to the Convos Lounge, you are definitely welcome. If you find it beyond the sticks, through the hills and over the trees and past the deer running, you are in the right place. I'm just somebody trying to tell everybody about somebody that can save anybody. But we keep it 100. I like to invite these brothers in and have a good time because, yes, I've been pastoring for over 13 years, been preaching for almost 20 and some change. Been a minister of music for God knows how long, been a pew baby the whole nine. But I live a regular life, honestly. Saved, sanctified, filled with the Holy Ghost, but I live a regular life. And to all my social media friends, okay, that don't really know me from church or whatever, y'all already know how I do. I'm the sneaker preach guy. But on tonight, we are going to jump into this series on red flags. This show between Sundays literally just deals with the open voice of the non-argumentative space, just listen to each other talk. We're not trying to be right and point somebody else out wrong. We're having a conversation. What I believe about the conversation and that little sign up there that says convos, the reason why the conversation matters is so that we're all hearing one another. What you take away from it is what you take away from it. And to God be the glory, the change that's needed, that'll bless and help your life, that we may strengthen somebody else. I want to turn it over now to the one and only, the voiceless guy that has a voice. Bowls a 300 with a set of keys on his side, plays the dopest chords on the organ with a gang of keys. And to Angel's husband, Jay. I'll turn it over to the table. Here we go. Daria, take it away.
All right, people, welcome back.
Yeah,
Episode 8.
Welcome.
Between Sundays. Again, we're a platform that offers perspectives of the modern church ministry operation and the many nuances from the lens of worship arts and multimedia personnel. Alongside my co-host,
Jay Morris.
I'm
right
D.
here.
Brister. We got a guest at the house, and this was the Lord's doing. This literally happened.
Yes.
This literally happened
Yes.
less than 12 hours ago. But this is the Lord's doing. We want to welcome to the table our brother Henry Haley.
Yeah.
Boom! Yes, I don't have a. Sorry,
Sure.
I'm a little
Listen.
corny, you know what I
World-renowned
mean?
Director, choir master, Brother Henry.
I want to say that. I'm just a regular guy that go to church. That's,
Ah.
but y'all, thank y'all for inviting me.
Absolutely.
I'm loving
Sure.
the vibe and the setup already. And that topic tonight, red flags, it's going to be
Yeah,
touchy.
it's going to be touchy.
So I'm going to give this disclaimer, y'all, that says watching, that knows me from church. Yes, I'm a minister of music and an elder in the church, but I keep it 100%.
hmm
Y'all know me, you know me.
And let me say
I'm
this.
not going to pull no punches.
Let me say this. It's late night, so anything could be said. So if you're home or whatever, you're snuggled up, grab your favorite drink.
Patrice, I love you.
I ain't gonna tell you what it is.
Well, my cup is empty and I need it to runneth over.
Come on.
So
Grab you something. And do what you gotta do.
So here's where I want to start, gentlemen. If you don't mind, Brother Henry, because Jay and I, we are obviously, musicians who, if called upon, we can direct. We've been in situations where we've directed, taught music, but I would at least say, I think I can speak for Jay when I say this, that I would say that directing and teaching
Courtney, go to bed.
is your expertise. So I want to just ask you, if you don't mind, just tell us a little bit about, your musical journey.
All right. So my musical journey actually started by accident. By accident. My dad, who's been a minister of music at the church for years, would, force us to come out to the dining room late hours when he gets songs in his head and wants to teach music. And I was just like, I was try to be the rebellious one. But music was the furthest thing from my mind coming up. Never thought I would be in it the way I am now.
Okay.
I was a football player. That's what I did.
Yeah.
Wow, you play football?
I did until I got hurt.
There
We're
it
still
is.
paying for it.
Come on. Yeah.
But we were about to do our first live recording project in '96. And we had a situation and the directors at the time couldn't, do the kids choir. I'll never forget it. We're sitting there getting ready. We get dressed up in black. They come in the room like, Henry, your father wants you. I'm like, first of all, when he says that, I done did something. I'm like,
Right.
I didn't do nothing.
Yeah.
I didn't do nothing yet. I'm just sitting here minding my business. So he comes in the room. I'll never forget it. When I walked in the room, it was him, my grandmother, Pastor Barbara War Farmer,
Wow.
and Willis Hickerson.
Wow.
And I'm looking at them like, they was like, you going out here and you going to direct these kids tonight. And I was like, y'all out y'all mind.
But that's the church is good for that. They're gonna put you up there.
I said, I'm looking at them like, y'all are out of your mind. My dad tells a story. He said, when I told you, you just broke out in a sweat. Because I was like, I'm I'm not doing this.
You gonna either fly or fall, but we gonna see tonight.
Let me tell you something. So it began there, but I grew up kind of singing with the children's choir, the youth choir, but the directing part of it kind of started there, and from there it just blossomed and took off.
Yeah.
I never was one of them. You know, they ask you in class, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Yeah.
I never raised my hand and said I want to do anything with music. Never, ever.
Wow.
In fact, they would ask me, and I don't know, because I didn't know at the time.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I guess God has a way of ordaining things and putting stuff,
Absolutely.
before you. So it started there, and it just blossomed from there. I've always had the opportunity to sing with some of the greatest choirs. My home church choir being one.
Yes.
And it was a thing, a lot of people got started on the community choir scene early,
Mhm.
but I didn't have to
Yeah.
because I had a church choir that was second to none.
Yeah.
They could sing, hands down, period.
Mhm.
And also at the time we had a functioning youth choir
Mhm.
that could sing whatever you put in front of them.
Mm.
So it started from there. And then as, time progressed, went on, I started learning more from my father. I did a little Bravo School of Music. I remember that.
Yes.
Tom
Yes,
and
sir.
all them doing a little stuff.
Yeah.
Called myself trying to play a little bit. It didn't work. And I
Mhm.
always felt like I could never play. So I
Mhm.
was like, I'm not equipped to do what it is
Yeah.
I'm doing. So for a while, it was just like, I felt like I had half a gift.
Mm.
Mm.
It's like, how am I going to teach these people how to sing and I can't play nothing?
Mhm.
But somehow, some way, miraculously, the Lord gave me
Yeah.
the tools to do what I need to do. So, and I find myself, I don't need a keyboard player
Mhm.
if I'm doing vocals.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
appreciate it. I just push through, get it, and we get it done.
Yeah.
Both of y'all have played for
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
church choir on numerous occasions.
Mhm.
But that's how my musical journey started. From there, I transitioned to the community choir scene.
Yeah.
The community choir I wanted to sing with, I'm not going to call their names.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually on my way to a rehearsal one night, and
Mm-hmm.
my dad was like, "Where are you going?" "I'm on a rehearsal."
Mhm.
He was like, "We don't have rehearsal tonight." I said, "Oh, well, So I was like, he says, his exact words was, "Like hell you are."
That sound like a good reverend too.
That's a good reference.
Yeah.
This man said, I never forget, I was standing there. He says, "Like hell you are." He said, "Get back here and shut this door." So we had a conversation and he was going over, but he released me then to,
Mhm.
start venturing out into the community choir scene. And I did it. Still on it, seen a lot, and I've been everything from road managers to financial officers
Mhm.
to everything.
Yeah.
So I've been blessed. I don't know if you want to call it a bless or a curse. It might be hand in hand. I've had the experience. I've seen it all.
Yeah.
There's nothing that I haven't seen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing.
Would you say that your exposure in the, let's say, the community choir space has been something that has helped or given you more tools as it pertains to your effectiveness and productiveness with your church?
So I would say, being on the community choir scene, we all know they run a little differently than church choirs.
Mhm.
Community choirs, most of them have what we want to call A or B list singers on there.
Yeah.
And I looked at it as something to okay, I can use this and I can incorporate some of this
Mhm.
to build home, because that's been always my goal, to keep home built,
Yeah.
keep the foundation
Yeah.
solid.
Yeah. Now I got one more question, but Jay, did you have a question?
Yeah. What can you say was your was a point where you saw an opportunity? Some people say catastrophe, but you saw an opportunity for you as a choir director when something didn't go right and you had to literally step in. Like what is something that you can remember that was like a memorable moment for you in all your years? I know that might be more than one, but something that it just changed the game for you. Like, okay, I got to step in and do this?
April 1996.
Ah.
I can never forget it. It was just like, for lack of better words, I had to man up. I had to toughen up, and all the playing and joking that I was doing, it was put to the test that night.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm like, they're literally, I'm not even exaggerating. I feel like it was 1,000 kids in front of me, and I was like, what am I gonna do with these? What do y'all want me to do?
So were you singing at the time?
I was singing, and we were singing with it was our combined choir that did the recording session.
Yeah.
But there was a segment in there where it was the kids.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm not doing it.
Wow.
And that moment that's a defining moment in my musical journey. I could never forget it. It was like,
wow.
You want what?
Awesome. So I got one more question. Let me shout out some watchers real quick. Larissa Johnson, Dave Bell, Mrs. Brister, Sir Jazz, Carl Watson,
my sister,
Grandma B,
Josiah Booker, Sean Tyrone Bell,
Sean Bell.
You already got to stay.
Gotcha. Jared J. James, Lorene Graves, Kev Hammond, Kevin Oliver, Jordan Hammond, Courtney Gray, Rodney Walker. Obviously, we shout out Patrice. Delisser, Dolores Ladson, Barry Allen Jr.
And Dolores is one of my good sopranos at the church.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone.
Yeah.
Here's my last question before we kind of jump into today's outline. Henry, this is, I believe, inside information, what I'm about to ask you, that many people who may serve in music ministries or, maybe they don't serve in music ministries, but, they kind of glamour at the music ministry from the pew or wherever ministry that they serve at. My question is, nowadays, as it pertains to, the operation of your music ministry at your home church, how much time would you say you need to put in preparing for rehearsals and Sundays?
Well, I would say I'll see my rehearsals on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
So I have Sunday, I'm rehearsing with another choir Monday. So between Tuesday and Thursday morning, I'm preparing. In fact, I'm already in my head after that Thursday rehearsal, what we doing for the following week.
Mm-hmm.
So with me, it's not something I can just jump up and throw together.
Yeah.
It takes time. And I know you also got to know the caliber of people that you're working with.
Yes, sir.
So, and sometimes you just can't throw them any old type of song or get them prepared any old type of way. You got to know the people or the hearts of the people that you're working with.
Mm-hmm.
And again, dealing with church choir is different from community choir.
Absolutely.
It's two different things.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say at least about 3 days out of the week preparing for what I want to do in rehearsal.
3 days.
Yeah,
out of the week.
3 days.
Wow.
Nice.
And that's all while still working.
Mm-hmm. While working, because I work full-time job.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes.
I work.
Wow.
I have to sometimes pick up my laptop and go to funerals and
Oh, yes.
Yep.
sing,
yes.
go back to the computer.
Wow.
Gotta do what you gotta
You gotta
do.
do what you gotta
Cool.
do.
So yes, I really believe your perspective and your experience is going to add a lot to the conversation here. So here's where we want to jump to. As we normally do, we take a comment from a previous episode that we may not have gotten to address at the time that it was typed in.
Okay.
All right. So this was the comment from last week. It's coming up on the screen. Now, normally you see a name. We chose not to do the name of the commenter, mainly because we don't want this to feel like, an attack of this person's opinion or their stance. I am a big proponent, and I've said this to the last 3 pastors that I've served. And this is what I've said to them. I said, I'll never challenge your authority, but I'll always challenge your thinking.
That's good.
Yeah.
I'll never challenge your authority. I'll always challenge your thinking. All right, so here's the comment. And I kind of edited it. But it says there's nothing wrong. We were in the midst, let me give a little backdrop. We were in the midst of talking about situations where musicians or musical individuals may transition from one ministry to another, or may transition out of a ministry to something different. And the comment was, there's nothing wrong with the musician moving to things bigger. It's not their fault, but the people in the church take the loss behind the move. Again, it's not the fault of the musician that the musical groups take a step back. And so
break it down, Rev.
Let me offer this, that I believe the default perspective here for most in the church is that transition of a key person, particularly a key musician, a lead musician, a minister of music, a praise and worship leader, that could be a couple, that could be various different, roles. But the default perspective is that the transition of that person out of the ministry automatically equals a loss of some type, whether it be a loss of a creative gift, a loss of, we're not going to operate at the same capacity, a loss of, the culture might not, be what it once was. That seems like, again, it seems like the default perspective, that transition almost always equals a loss or some type of a subtraction that negatively impacts the ministry as a whole. All right. Now, in saying that, and I'm gonna throw it to you, Henry, to get your thoughts. In saying that, there's a lot of things at play, and so it's going to take us some time to peel back these layers. There's a lot of things at play, but the root of this, for me, comes down to a word that Pelzer has been speaking since episode 1. Okay. It comes down to the culture, because if one significant person transitioning almost gives the thought that it almost gives a doomsday thought to, the ministry operating moving forward, I would suggest and offer that then there's a dysfunction in how the culture was built. And this is not just music. This goes all the way up to the pastor. One of the biggest issues in our churches is that we build the culture off personalities. Wow. Example, what does the attendance look like when pastor's on vacation?
Oh, goodness gracious.
Wow. Wow, right there.
Can you hold that thought and continue to set up and pass to Henry? So I just want to add in here, shout out to Darnell Jackson, brother known as Juan. One quick answer here, Henry. I need you to answer this question. This is my boy James Hicks. I was just on his live. Awesome. Can you answer that real quick?
Is it that the musician or the singers? It went away. I missed.
Okay, I got you. So his question is that the musicians or the singers that you spend that much time with?
Well, mainly the singers. And I say right now because I'm not working with a full band right now. I do have a musician. I send them the music, but it's more so I'm working more towards vocals and singers.
Yeah. Okay. And Darren, you can take this back. Transitioning here. This is
training and development has entered the chat. We got to do better at training people to elevate. Absolutely.
I agree with that.
Set your culture back up.
Yeah, that's one of the layers. But again, the culture or the dysfunction of a culture, it's not really just the music ministry. It's really a reflection of the entire entire church. That's why I went that way in terms of what does the attendance look like when the pastor's on vacation, or
when the minister of music is on vacation.
when the minister of music, or
out.
even
Or
if
out.
even if we're not talking about, or even if we're not talking about the pastor being on vacation, because some people might say, well, that's a vacation month for everybody. Okay, what if the pastor's preaching out
Mm,
and everybody know he's preaching out?
right.
What does the attendance look like? So going back to the original comment around a transition from a key person in the music ministry seems to always point toward a setback for the entire ministry. Your thoughts, Henry?
Well,
Take your time, Reverend.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm in a hot seat
No, man, go ahead,
You
bro.
like say, take your time, Reverend.
That's it.
because it's so much going through my head right now, and I'm trying to temper
Mhm.
what I have to say, but I've been in that position
Mm-hmm.
where we had someone transition out, and everybody just thought it was the end. Like it was like there's no moving on from here, and I'm just like, I disagree.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, it's all about how you train people, like train and put them in position to do what needs to be done.
Mm-hmm.
I think our brothers and sisters that's not kissed by nature's son, just like we are,
Right.
Yeah.
they have a different way of going about
Yep.
the way that they do things and put things in place.
Right.
We as Black folk don't do that.
Mm.
We think about the now. We don't plan for the future.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is in the now, but we're not thinking about 5 or 10 years down the road. Like if he or she gets sick and they are not here, what can we do?
Yeah.
And I just think that's just something that we as a culture we struggle with.
Mm.
We don't plan ahead. We
Yeah.
plan for the now. We live in the right now.
Yeah.
And I've been in a situation where I had somebody, a great musician, that took another offer somewhere else.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It hurt. It hurt because it was more of like they're like family.
Mhm.
They were like family.
Yeah.
And I'm the type of person. If I work with you and for years, we build a rapport. We build a relationship. We have our good days. We have our bad days.
Yeah.
But in this particular instance, this is hard. This is a
Yes.
hard question
Absolutely.
and a hard thing to just dive into.
Yeah.
To break apart because there's so many different components and different pieces to this.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we're talking about church in particular, we can talk about how because he or she is good at what they do, people in the church gravitate to them and they start building these relationships
Mm-hmm.
with the minister of music or the musician. They start circumventing the director or the pastor because they start going to them. So when they leave, it's just like this empty space because you done bypassed everybody else that was in place and went to the minister of music
Yeah.
instead of going through the proper channels. So then we have a mess on our hands because it's like, oh, well, they did it this way and they're not here. Well, they're not here. And if you were doing things the right way or in a godly order, then when we have transitions, then it's not so hard.
Right.
God dang, boy, that's why Lord sent you
Not
here.
so hard.
Absolutely.
If we're showing people and training people the right way, then when they make their transition, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, then you can pick up the pieces and keep going.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Wow.
You can pick up the pieces and keep going. But by the same token, musicians need to understand this. These new school musicians need to understand this. That we're not going to be held hostage by your gift either.
There it is.
Say it.
Right there.
Amen.
We're not going to be held hostage.
Amen.
And I'm finding out a lot about that. I love the younger generation of musicians, but it's like they're missing something.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree.
They're missing something.
Yeah.
You want to come and play for a service and you want full pay, but you don't want to stay for the whole service.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a problem.
That
Yeah.
is.
That's a problem.
That's a problem. No way around that.
And then you
That's a
got
problem.
musicians that want top pay, but you can't open up a hymn book and you can't even sight read the first line.
Right. Exactly.
You can't even play the church is one foundation,
Mm-hmm.
but you want to walk in somewhere that man you want $600.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot to this component.
It's a lot to it.
And like I said, I've been on both sides of the fence.
Yeah.
I'm not a musician, but my father's a musician. I grew up around musicians.
Yeah.
I don't play. And a lot of people, when I tell them, they're like, you don't play? I'm like, no, I don't play. They were like, well, you can't tell with me sitting with you and you teaching parts and doing stuff like that. It's a gift that the Lord has given me.
Yeah.
So, but it's a big.
Yeah. And we're going to spend some time here.
Yeah.
Jay.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I need
Right.
some. Yeah.
all right.
Now, because you're a musician.
I am.
You're a musician.
That they say that I am. All right. So
J,
All right.
okay, J, whatever.
So me as well. I've been on both sides of the fence. My take is this. For some reason, our folk,
Mm-hmm.
we are not most of us are not very good at succession planning.
No.
As
Good,
Henry
yeah.
said.
No.
So because of this, it has always been an issue when somebody that is in the point trusted
Mm-hmm.
and we would like them to be around all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But the truth of the matter is, when you're good at what you do, you're always going to be sought after.
Yeah.
There's always going to be an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
I've always believed that in order for you to be successful, it's determined by who comes after you.
Yeah.
Who's able to fill your shoes?
Yeah.
Who have you trained in place while you were there?
Yeah.
Because there's always someone looking. So, as Henry said, I've been on both sides of the fence. As a minister of music, I've lost musicians. I've laid off musicians. I've fired musicians. And each time I had to look at it as now I have to step up. Because for what now I'm doing their job and mine. So I have to now look and see, okay, who out there in the audience, even if they can't play right now, they just have a desire to want to be up here.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I need right now.
Yeah.
So if I know 5 years down the line, I'm trying to do this, I already realize I'm not going to be here forever.
Truth.
So now I have to make up my mind, who's coming after me?
Yeah.
Musicians, we don't really think like that when we go somewhere. We just get our paycheck and we roll.
Mm-hmm.
You never deposit.
Yeah.
You never invest. Investing is not just money.
Yeah.
Right.
Investing is your time. Investing is your talent as well.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can't say that you have deposited and invested in someone to come behind you, to at least, even if they don't play as well as you, if you can't say you've invested in somebody can at least do something, and you just leave, yeah, the church is going to feel a loss. The church is definitely going to feel a loss because now there's nothing there. There's a void.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that somebody got to take up that cross.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand what you're saying, and I agree. There's definitely a culture thing, but I think it's not just with pastors. I think it's with musicians too,
Absolutely.
and whoever else is in leadership, because it's not just musician. It could be choir director,
Yeah.
because everybody has a time when you're going to get sick.
Yeah.
Our bodies are breaking down day by day.
Yeah.
You're going to be weak sometimes. You're going to have surgeries. You're going to have death in the family. These things happen.
Yeah.
Nobody is Superman
Mm-hmm.
or Superwoman. So you have to prepare. So it's not a loss.
Yeah.
This is why it's important, and I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna give it back to you, D.
Mm-hmm.
This is why it's important, in my opinion, for pastors to financially plan for these situations, so that way you're not bent over, so to speak, when the musician like, hey, listen, I need this amount of money or I'm out. Okay, well, that's fine. You can go.
Yeah.
Because we have little Junior over here that, you know, is able to do what he need to do. No, he may not be you, but he will grow. And he'll do what he need to do.
So, let me throw this in that I think
I saw you
ties.
breathing.
Let me throw
I
this
saw Henry
in
breathing
that I
over there.
think ties to what both of y'all said, and then I want Pels to jump in.
I'm good. Henry got me. I
Yeah.
plead the fifth.
Yeah.
Go ahead, D.
As the church, when we're in that process in the beginning of identifying this key person, are we too focused on what they can do versus what they can bring?
Yes, most definitely. And you know what? That is an amazing point. I think Pelzer was talking about it one time, talking about keeping up with the Joneses. We look at other ministries and like, hey, we gotta kind of be like them.
No.
Yeah.
We gotta kind of do it like this. So if you got a banging band, we're looking at ours and we're like, hold up, yeah, they gotta come up now.
No.
So I'm coming back to you, Henry, but real quick. Let me go a little deeper when I say, are we too focused on what they can do versus what they can bring? All right. What you can do, only you can do.
Right.
But what you can bring is something that can be duplicated.
Wow.
Okay.
Right.
And if it can be duplicated, then it does not hinge on you.
There it is.
You're not the chief cornerstone.
Right.
So that's what I mean by, are we too focused on what one person can do
Yep.
I think
versus what they can
One
bring? Go ahead, Henry.
actually
I
bring.
think
That's good.
I think we're focused on what the person can do.
Right.
And I'm basing it on my experience. They can do this, or when they get there, it's just like services of it. But when they get on the drums or the organ, it's just and I'm just like, but then after they leave,
That's it. You're back
then
to
what?
square one.
We back to square one again. We back, and I've seen it. It's just like, when they playing or when they singing or they, it's we focus on what they can do. So, and I think we need to shift our focus a little bit. Because like you said, if it's something that can be duplicated, when opportunities open for musicians and or singers outside of where they're at, it's not a loss.
Now, let me piggyback on that. I'm sure you remember, D, at least for me. I remember sitting on the organ next to someone when I was young
Yes.
that played very well.
Yes.
And all I did was watch.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't play like him.
Yeah.
But all I did was watch. My aunt who played the piano, all I did was sit next to her.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, she made me.
Yeah.
Or I would get a whooping.
Yeah.
Come in here and sit next to me. You being bad in church.
I've
Yeah.
had
And
those experiences.
it wasn't even about playing.
Yeah.
You come in and sit next to me because she saw something. She was like, I know I'm not gonna be here always. You come here and learn something.
Yeah.
And involuntarily, I learned just by watching. Same way I did with sitting on the organ. And what I didn't know is the whole time I was watching, it was being deposited in me what to do. And not only what to do, how, and the experience. So the culture of the churches that I was just sitting there started to get inside me. And I started to realize different atmospheres and what to do and how to do.
Yeah.
And go ahead, Pels. I'm sorry.
You know what? You know what's crazy? So I realized in what you just said there, Jay. So for me, old school Baptist pew baby, Seventh-day Adventist on Saturday, hanging out with the homies there, BM Oakley, hanging out with them, different churches. I'm putting all this together to say, in each one of those brown-skinned churches, there were people that were gifted and talented that belonged there. It was good culture that even outside of my own church, if I knew Henry when I was younger and his father was training me. Anytime I'm hanging out with Henry, his dad's always there.
Yeah.
It wasn't somebody that's doing a drive-by to 5 different churches that they're not a part of that culture. So
Right.
when we talk about how we grew up, even outside of your own church, wherever you went to, there were people there in-house that you knew exactly that you can learn from that person. And so when I see these comments that some people put in there, we don't train anymore. The coach was there to train you.
Yeah.
You don't never know. And if you go where quote unquote great players are, it's not guaranteed you're going to catch them after church. They not hanging around.
not hanging around.
Because they going somewhere. So
Yeah.
you don't have time to learn.
Right.
Hey, wait, Henry don't play Oregon. Well, how you doing all that? Hey, this is what I did. You got time to get close enough and hang. And I'm going to say this and move off the screen. You didn't have to be in that person's way.
Right.
Because they were there, you could stalk them without troubling them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because I stalked enough musicians.
Yeah.
Jimmy Short, Brian Pugh, you name these jokes. I stalked these guys
Yeah.
and didn't even have to ask them, can you train me? I just sit in your rehearsal. Because I know exactly where to find you at. You had a base and some kind of structure that I could learn from.
And
that's my 2 cents.
And that's one of the reasons why my father did wind up releasing me to do outside ministry versus church, because I understand he saw something in me that I didn't necessarily know was there. So he trusted certain people
Yeah.
to hone my gift, i.e., Zach.
Yeah.
Been with them for 18 years.
Shout out to
That's-
Zach Williams.
That's right.
That.
He trusted me
Yeah.
with these people
Yeah.
and will allow me to go with them. So going back to my comment I said earlier about when I was on my way to a rehearsal that night,
Yeah.
this one choir, he was just like, no, because that's not what you need.
Right.
But I don't mind you going here
Yeah.
because I know that they will develop what's in you.
Yeah.
And I know it's not a competition thing over there, and I trust them.
Yeah. Let me shout out some more watchers. Devon Dickerson, Angel Holcomb, JP High Tech, Overseer L. Andre Person,
Yeah.
Ebony Greer Green, Michael Stallings, Richard Jackson, Marquis Shaw Cotman, A. Jermaine Nixon.
Saints-
We shout out
Saints
Zach
is in the
Williams,
room.
Yeah.
Maurice Rush, John Williams Jr., John Gooden, Pastor John Gooden, Tom Young, Pastor Antonio McAllister, John Danny Brickhouse, Rob Speaks. Thank you all for tuning in. Rosalind Hannah, thank you for tuning in. Emaine Daniels, Rhonda Rayner Miller, thank you all for tuning in. Cheryl A. Spinnervaughn, Linda Jackson. All right, let me say something that I believe may be a big culture shock. Jay, you mentioned part of your musical upbringing sitting next to someone, which represents proximity.
Right.
My musical journey or my upbringing as someone who has no musical lineage anywhere, either side.
Wow.
I was singing as a preteen on the male chorus.
Wait, you sang?
Look. I was about to say the same thing. I was like, yo, okay.
I mean, I was down there.
Yo,
but
that
I was
was
just
you
like,
helped me, of course.
Boy, if they told me Darren was singing
No,
the
you know how I
2-second solo,
found out?
I come to the afternoon
You know how I
service.
found out he could sing one night?
Right.
I think we was doing a rehearsal, getting ready for something at my church. It was a part. It was wearing me out. He goes to Oregon and he just busts out singing. I said, "Oh, you can sing."
Brother,
I'm like,
I mean,
yo.
I got listen.
Look, hidden talent.
I got that good old teach your part voice.
That wasn't a teacher part voice that night. That was like, "Oh, you sing for real."
No, man. I understand.
So singing as a preteen, singing on the male chorus, and I wandered downstairs to the upright piano, and I started just playing the melody of the songs that the male chorus singing. One note, just found it. Proximity. Could it be?
That's it, Wine. I knew Wine would know.
Oh,
Wine,
wow, man.
I believe Wine.
Male
That's
chorus.
it.
Yeah,
I believe
me and
Sesame.
Juan grew up at the very same church. So
Look.
Yeah,
Right.
Zach.
Right. Give him that microphone.
All right.
Like,
All right, listen. Listen, you swing that mic that way. Him 122 is coming. Blessed quietness.
yeah,
That is crazy.
So, could it be that one of our issues along this topic, or one of the causes of the issue with this topic, is how we look at this youth church, children's church?
Okay.
Because,
Stirring up.
and it's going to sound like a shot at our whole concept of children's church. But what I'm offering is that it separates you from the proximity of the various operations of the church.
Always agree with that.
It separates you from that
yeah,
I always agree with that.
Yeah,
versus particularly at a specific age. Let's say at a 8, 9-ish. Purposely, intentionally
I never thought.
positioning youth in proximity to those areas.
Darren,
Music, audio. Go ahead.
you compartmentalize their learning, because then you have to structure from the structure, right? So I'm not against it. So I get it if the church is so big and you have youth churches. I just didn't understand it from my lens, and I'm not saying my lens is correct and others are wrong, but from my lens, y'all know Kendrick, right?
Yeah.
So for Teen and Asia, the reason why Kendrick's got that old school style, his grandfather was a deacon at our church, best friends with my grandfather, and I learned from that old Sam Cooke style deacon that you had to practice in all keys, because however the deacon felt on that Sunday morning is where he put the hymn at.
Absolutely.
So when they said Jesus keep, next Sunday he could be a little higher.
Yeah.
If his wife was gritting on him, he sang lower. So I had to play it in all these different keys, right?
Yeah.
And I learned the bumps, I learned the styles from testimonial service, the mother that could sing, the one that couldn't sing. I learned all that. I learned all the functionalities of the church, being in the service, not sitting in a side room with somebody else playing pastor and their lens.
Yeah.
And we all got to try to find out how to be the youth in it. Church just wasn't a thing that we set aside to the youth only.
Yeah.
When actually the whole move of salvation is a maturity within itself. So how you having children church and we don't even know about Jesus yet, other than what we learned from mama and daddy.
And
So then therefore the learning, that's like saying you got to learn how to play drums, John Roberts, and then you got to learn how to play from a teenage kid in high school as your teacher, or a 20-year-old. If I could sit with the OG, if I could sit with Dave Weckl or somebody, I want to sit with the OG.
Yeah.
Because I'm learning the music.
Yeah.
So I had all 50 and 60-year-olds to learn from to play the keys.
Yeah.
That was just me.
Now, what I just said, I promise you all, this is organic. This is not something we talked about before we went live. So I really just dropped this on everybody in here. But again, I am not advocating to do away with children's church. I am advocating for us maybe to re-examine it, because not only do we have children's church, but then watch this. Many churches set aside a Sunday where, okay, now we're going to, have the youth do, the various things on the program.
right.
But again, they've not really had proximity to someone else doing it while they were doing it.
Right.
So I really just, again, I think we need to re-examine that when we talk about the importance of training, developing. That's the prime age we're talking about, in that 8, 9, 10, that's the prime age. But it just seems like, for the most part, our approach is trying to develop them away from those who are already in position executing. Any thoughts?
Now, here's the thing. I remember going to Kojic conventions, and shout out to Darren Miller.
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah.
Dr. Darren Miller.
Yeah, who is a beast in his own right.
Jay always moves away from.
Oh, sorry. You know.
You tell you don't be singing like that.
No, man.
He just laid
so
back.
here's a thought.
Right. If you hear it, you hear it. If you don't, you don't.
My man need a laugh.
But I used to always go to these Kojic conventions, and Darren Miller would be on the organ
Darren,
playing his tail off.
Absolutely.
The crazy thing is, at any time, if Darren got off, there'd be 10 other musicians right there on the front row.
Yep.
Ready. And it wouldn't change the atmosphere of the service at all. And this was a time where you didn't have YouTube.
No.
You learned what you learned by practicing. Or whatever you heard, you had to go home and think of it yourself. There wasn't no Logic or nothing like that, no Pro Tools. You had to go home and sound it out.
You had to take that Walkman and dig.
Yeah,
Use that rewind, fast forward. You had to wear them buttons out.
Yeah, you wear the buttons out. The rewind play. What'd he do?
But I mean, what happened?
Bruh.
What happened?
What happened is the question.
The question is, what happened?
Yeah.
Because as you say, I remember coming up, we did children's church, and we did it a little differently. We didn't stay in children's church the entire time. So it was like we went from Sunday school, and then we went upstairs, and we transitioned like to children's church midways through service. So some of us got to see kind of the best of both worlds. But I've seen and heard a lot of churches, they just don't want the kids upstairs, so let's just put them in children's church.
Yeah.
But like you said, they're missing something. And down there singing about Father Abraham had many sons every other week.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm just being honest.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? The devil is a sly old fox.
Right.
Yeah.
You need a little bit more than that. But I'm just trying to figure out though, and that's just been a question, what happened to that?
What happened?
Like what happened? Because it's not like some of these musicians that we all just named are not here. They're still very here.
Yeah.
And in good health, thank God.
Yeah.
But it's just like I don't know what happened. Can somebody out there that's watching just what happened?
Wow.
And that's a layered question that
what happened?
we may have to save that for another episode.
I'm coming back.
Is that one of the contributing factors to why our culture is the way it is that you were asking?
I would have to say yes.
Because just like you were, when you opened up, you said, okay, it's now a mindset, a culture. So even if a musician left back in the day, there were 2 or 3 other young bulls that was ready to hop on drums. You remember, Pelzer, man, you remember when everybody played drums? Didn't we all start on drums? We all, come on.
Yeah.
Like everybody played the kit.
And to your point, you had many churches that had a lot of people wanting to play keyboard or organ. So they would pick up drums just so they could play during the service.
Hey,
Yeah.
Yo.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, dude, like there was an interest.
Yeah.
I didn't know many cats that started on bass.
Yep.
I'm not saying there wasn't, but most of the cats I knew either started on mostly drums, and they just gravitated to the organ somehow, and that's what happened with me.
Yeah.
I was a drummer first.
Yeah.
So
You know?
Really?
So
Yeah,
look at
I
this.
was a drummer first.
I'm a stare this like Darian does sometimes when he goes into his reverend mode. See this comment right here, Shed Stop. Like they said earlier, we're in a rush to the next gig versus right. Just sitting around and seeing who might be next. Here's something I need to add on to that. The sheds we had back in the day, I was talking with John Roberts. It was me and him and Spank and Orrin Evans were at an interview. And we were sitting there talking about that famous moment. I don't know if you remember this, when John and Briz had a battle. And I think Zach and Ty and them was there. And it's when John came back with some kind of jungle style. But long story short, it was a friendly, like, battle thing where Lil Trey, Spank wasn't even technically on yet, but John and Brian was the end guys, right? You had all the Kojic, the Baptist musicians, we were out West Philly. Somebody's got the video of it. But the whole thing was everybody in that house, they weren't like free agents, if you will. So remember my sports analogies, right?
Yeah.
You got free agents that just pop all over the place and they get pissed off with the team. They like, yo, who want me? I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm that dope. You know, everybody come holler at me. Then you got people that do the right tenure, Darian, where their tenure is, even if they move somewhere, you can identify them with a certain house.
Yeah.
So the sheds were, in our day, were compiled of people that had a house that you could identify.
Yeah.
So when you get the Keith Johnsons, the Darren Millers, you get the Jim, get all of them. Everybody, shout out to the late Nate as a drummer. You knew when you seen him at his shed, you knew to find them over at the Jew Rock. You knew to find so-and-so at the little Baptist joint. You knew, all of us knew each other.
Yeah.
Now you don't know where people actually like, where's your home spot?
Yeah.
And everybody bishop is somebody bishop somewhere that they ain't tithing, ain't giving, ain't there. Bishop, I just talked to your bishop and he ain't say nothing about you. So that can't be your bishop. I'm sorry. Where's your home? And I think the seeking is where's your foundational spot that you actually, if I go there, the people have seen you, they know you. They know at least the latest something about you, even if you out traveling on the road, this, that, and the third. Darian has been at houses that he does not even play at now. But the way he left, he has a tenureship to it that you can talk to them people there and they can tell you about Darian. Am I saying something? Right?
Yeah.
That right there
Accurate.
is
That's
where
very
you
accurate.
find the cultivation of culture, because whenever you need them, they will be right there. And if I needed my child to learn from certain people, I know where to put them at because I know there's some foundational structure there. And that does not incarcerate people to not be able to move and get around. But that's where community choirs was kicking in. Community, it's almost like a prerequisite for community choir is either you don't have no church home and you don't really know Jesus and you're trying to find Jesus through community choir, or we all can identify at a particular home church and we get you after you're done serving where your primary is first.
That's how it should be.
That's good.
Got you.
Hold on,
Got you.
real quick. I got a question. Do you play saxophone?
So I started
Boy, you
on
Austin Woodland part 2.
Right. I gotta say, look. The wives will give the tapes, don't they?
Let me explain.
Everybody be like, he plays saxophone.
Let me explain.
Come on, Reverend.
When I picked up keys, I started on keys. When I picked that up in church, it was the summer of going to 7th grade. I was like 11
Okay.
when I picked up keys. So when I went back to school in September, they had a jazz band. So I'm like, all right, I'm into music. Let me see what's what. So I went, looked into it. No piano in that setting.
Right.
So I'm like, all right, well, let me pick out an instrument. I picked out saxophone.
Yeah.
So I played saxophone from 7th grade to 11th grade. Because even when I got to high school and I wanted to pick up keyboard, there was 3 keyboard players ahead of me.
Yeah.
So I really had to wait till they graduated because they were 2 years my senior.
Yeah.
So by 11th grade, I could then move to keyboard or in the jazz band at school. So I haven't really played much saxophone, I would say, since like 2003. I haven't touched one since 2003.
Okay.
Pels, real quick, can you pull up a recent comment from Angel Holcomb? I do want to answer this
Good.
question.
Which one was it?
She said, I'm curious to know how old each of the guys were when they first picked up an instrument. So I just told you I was 11.
Harry don't play nothing.
People,
I think he lying. No, I think he lying. I think he lying.
Yeah. He might.
I mean, I'll go there and give you a chord, but that's all you're going to get. I'll give you a
talented
chord.
as he is.
That's all you're going to
So
get.
yeah, I was 11 years old, and again, I don't come from. There is no musical lineage anywhere on either side of my family. It was the proximity of me. It was my father figure at the time. He sang on the male chorus, so he kind of took me with him to sing on the male chorus with him. So doing that once a month, the proximity of music just kind of got a hold of me in a very strange way. But yeah, I was 11. Jay?
Me, honestly, I was 3 years old.
Nice.
And my mom happened to have a old, I call it a piano, the old upright, where the front would open up. It was one of them suckers, and I was just a badass kid. I can't say no better than that.
He just cussed. I like it. That's it.
We gotta
I
get a
just-
jar.
I was. Look,
Gotta get a jar.
I love it.
I'm being honest. And my mom found a way to keep me busy. She found a way to keep me, so she could do what she needed to do around the house.
Agreed.
And she said, sit on this piano. And this is where, when I told you where my aunt got it from, when I was bad in church, you being bad back here, sit right here next to me.
Yep.
And somehow,
I love that, Pastor
Do it
Angel.
all.
I love that.
come on, yes. And somehow through that proximity, as we just said, is where I learned. And those tapping notes started becoming real pieces of music, and that's where I started.
Pels, you want to throw your...
So your
sauce?
age in there. I mean, I started about 8 and got handed a choir at 12. So
Come on. Come on, it got handed a
Yep.
involuntarily,
Involuntarily.
go do this. I'm like, what?
Yep.
But Henry, I'm gonna throw a challenge on you real quick.
Okay.
So being as though, all right, jokes aside, so you don't play any instruments at all, right?
No.
Okay, so here's the thing, and I agree with some people saying in the comment. If everybody told me that like you could make an organ talk, I would just buy it based on your character and seeing you in action at one point in time with the choir, right? So the funny thing is, Zach is like a person that don't seem like he's a beast on the keys and the organ, but he is.
But he is,
right?
yeah.
Because the way he's in the directing
Yeah.
stuff,
Right.
he actually is the. No offense to you, Zach. Like I know you play, but the thing is, you almost forget that Zach is as dope as he is on the keys and the organ.
Yeah.
Because you get so used to him directing.
Yeah.
I'll give Ty Tribbett some credit too. Like he surprises people when he sits down on the organ, and people that don't know.
They don't
Exactly.
know, right?
We
They
know
don't
him, but
right.
people just think he's just jumping around the stage. And when
Yep.
he like he get on the organ, you like, who that playing?
Yeah, most
and you like
definitely.
snap. So honestly, you seem like you would surprise me and just crush it. But here's my point. Culture wise, and you being identified as a place where we can find you at, that you have tenureship in, right? No matter how many other churches you help, that's where if my child was interested in learning and they're like, I don't feel like playing an instrument, they can still join in with the music ministry and find their in from somebody like you.
Yeah.
And that's what I learned in the value of culture back in the day, that you had the options, right? So it's like Jay was saying, everybody wanted to be a drummer, and it was almost like the drums was the start, and then everybody would fall off from it. And then you figure out the people that's like, yeah, this just ain't me. Because I was on the drums for a minute, then I was like, nah. Tried the bass, I was like, nah. And I just ran with it with the keys. But there's other people that know like directing, they know choir. You teach musicians, but you don't get on the organ and say, play this, but I would trust you and telling me where to go.
Right.
And even though if you can't show it to me what you're talking about, you have a gift in getting me there based off of your skill set in not being a actual musician. So Darian, this ties into what we're talking about non-musical people making musical decisions. And this is a unique category about just because we all know how to play, you be careful and know. You ever see people in the room, I'm gonna get off the camera. You ever see people in the room where cats be looking like, he don't know how to play the organ. You be like, you don't go there.
Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
you trust me, the best of the best
Right.
pay attention to him.
Right.
And it don't matter that they don't touch none of this stuff. They know what they talking about.
Yeah.
So that comes from, again, that culture, and it comes from that unity that we used to have. That's just my little point there.
So real quick, I want to take some liberty on something real quick,
Go
and
for
then
it.
we're going to jump back to the original comment. So Mrs. Brister, she made a comment a little while ago. I don't need you to find it, Pels.
Okay.
I'm going to read it because I am going to start next week with this comment.
Okay.
All right. And the reason why I'm going to start next week, because I want to give it the time it truly needs. The comment was, how do you guys think you can invest in invest value in the younger female
I
musicians?
like it. I like it.
All right. We're going to start next week
I like it.
with that. So we give it the time that it actually needs.
Yeah.
Put it up
Okay.
there in the save.
That's
Yeah, real quick.
Forget-
Can I say one more thing about the proximity?
Yes, sir.
Before we end that particular segment,
Mhm.
I don't think we discuss as well how much of a blessing proximity can be. Pals, how many guys got put on
Mhm.
simply for being in the room at the right time?
Yeah.
Yep.
I agree.
Absolutely.
Simply. It didn't even matter that they couldn't play as well as you, but because you can play and you happen to have an idea that someone liked.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
I think I remember a story where Jill Scott told about her being in Jazzy Jeff's studio and happened to be painting and singing something.
wow.
And he happened to hear it.
Wow.
She wasn't
Okay.
even supposed to be singing nothing like that.
Yeah.
And she was painting and she started just humming something. He happened to be walking past.
Yeah.
And heard her.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, hey, sing this right here, sing this track. And being in that space at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Proximity is a whole series.
Mm.
When we,
Yeah.
if
That's- that's
we really crack open that can
Mm-hmm.
and really dig into proximity and help some musicians understand that sometimes the proximity means being in a position that you may not desire
Mhm.
at the time, but if you stay in that
Just stay
position,
there, man.
it's got you lined up for where you want to go.
Exactly.
If you exercise the patience
Yes.
and wait on this design. So we got to put that on our
Yeah.
radar to really dig
There you
into.
go.
This comment up here: proximity is often God's way of equalizing access to opportunity.
Wow.
That's really good.
That right
that's,
there.
That's it.
That's
Yep.
the one.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So I want to go back to this comment. I want to make one other, I guess,
Showing. What's
I
going
want to make one other,
You don't
being
have
in
to
the room
read
at the
it.
right.
Keep going. No,
Yep.
yeah.
But I want to make, I guess, one other statement toward, again, the notion that when a key person in the music ministry transitions, it, signifies to most, some type of loss or step back. Again, going back to the church identifying the people that they're hiring.
Mhm.
If the focus is just what they can do,
Mhm.
if that was the focus when that key person was either brought in or if they were reared,
Mhm. Right.
if that's the focus, what they can do, then this whole feeling of loss and setback is inevitable.
Of course.
Mm.
It's inevitable.
Of course.
You have set up the perfect pick and roll.
Mhm.
It's coming. It ain't a if. It's a win.
It's win.
Right.
Win.
Mm.
Right.
It's a win. So that's why I go back to that point in terms of the culture that you're building,
Mhm.
that it's personality driven. It's driven off of, the charisma of one or two people,
Yes.
or the creative gifting of one or two people
Mhm.
that doesn't seem to replicate itself with anyone in proximity.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just doesn't seem to and that's a red flag.
Of course.
That's a red
Of
flag.
course.
If I talked about the minister of music position being equivalent to a management level position in secular.
Mhm.
All right, so if musicians, if you're asking for this type of bag,
Mhm.
but all you bring is what you do,
Mm. Right. Right. Mhm.
you not worth what you asking.
Right. Exactly.
And
And the reason-
I've gotten in trouble over that.
Wow,
And
really?
I've gotten in trouble over that.
But watch
I've had
this.
People say, "Well," I said, "Well, you're not worth that."
yeah.
And I'm
I
coming.
don't got a problem telling you.
Yeah,
you ain't
and
worth that.
I'm coming to you, Henry. But the reason you're not worth it, brother musician, sister praise and worship leader, the reason you're not worth that is because you are not immune to sickness and health issues.
Right. That's right. Exactly.
Mm.
Exactly.
You're not immune. You can't guarantee 52 Sundays a year for 5-10 years. You can't.
Can't even agree to
That's why you're not worth it. It has nothing to do.
Next week.
next
It,
week.
it's not a dig at your ability. It's not a dig at what you say, what you feel like you're worth. But you need to change your lens a little bit because you can't.
You can't say
I
that.
don't care how much you think you can. You can't guarantee 52 Sundays a year for 5 years.
Exactly.
You can't do it at any age. You
Mhm.
cannot do it. You can't even guarantee you can dodge car accidents on the way.
On the way there.
You can't guarantee none of that.
Back from the meeting.
I think part of that is just not musicians, singers, period. I think nowadays people have it mixed up. When we say, I don't want nobody to get offended when I'm saying you're just not worth, but you get it, you see what, she making or he making, and you just started and you trying to come in at top dollar with no experience. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And I have a problem with that.
Mm-hmm.
I have a problem with that.
Yeah.
I don't mind paying the musician and or singer what he or she is worth.
Mm-hmm.
But come here
Right.
with something.
Right.
There you go.
Right.
Come with something.
There you go.
Right.
Come with something.
Right.
Yep.
And like you said, man, it's so it's heartbreaking to hear you're not worth, because we think that's a dig into our who we are, our personality.
Yeah.
And that's not the case.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, like you said, a lot of these younger musicians, I have to say, though they can play well, maybe one key, maybe two keys, there's issues when it comes to a hymn.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's just say you got the hymns and
Yeah.
you can actually play.
Yeah.
There's certain points in the service where atmosphere has to be
Which
set.
has to set and shift.
And there's only certain things experience.
Mm-hmm.
No.
You have to just know. I can't
Yeah.
teach you certain areas in the service of what to really do. That's where, again, the proximity. You just have to have been in the atmosphere, raised in that, to kind of know what to do.
Yeah. And you have to also have the maturity.
Mm.
You have to have the maturity when you're maybe in a different atmosphere to keep your eyebrows up, to discern
Yes.
that there's the mature musician, even though he might not be familiar with a specific setting, the mature musician is looking for those things. They're not just playing the same way they do in another atmosphere.
And that's where the
Right.
bucks come in.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You said basically what I was going to say.
I'm sorry.
But when you tapped me, I was like, you stepping on my shoe.
Sorry.
No, that's just where I'm at with it. I don't mind paying anybody what they deserve.
Absolutely.
I've never, and if there are any musicians watching this that ever worked for me, worked for the church, you can never say that Henry and them never gave you what you deserve, because you got that and then some.
Yes,
Amen.
that's right.
But again, these musicians that come and play for us, they bring something.
Yeah.
And this is like, it goes beyond a bump and a dance.
Absolutely.
You got to learn how to play more than a bump and a dance.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's more than that. Just not. I'm not even talking about just in the realm of spectrum of church. In the secular world too.
Yeah.
You have to learn.
Yes, sir,
adapt.
Rock.
You have to learn to adapt.
That's right.
That's right. And Rock, another musician,
Yep.
excellent musician,
Yeah.
has crazy guy on the drums.
Yeah.
He all right on the drums.
He young, but he
all
young,
right.
but he got that old soul.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
He all right on the drums.
Now, and here's the thing.
He
Wait,
got
real
that old
quick.
soul.
Darian told me and he warned me. I was like, dude, I know he played, but I didn't know his etiquette I'm just shouting you out, bro. We talked the other day. He was just here. The etiquette.
Yeah.
And this is why it's not about that it's 5 drummers in the room. They all dope to me, right?
Yeah.
Somebody got a certain thing that the other one ain't got. That don't mean that everybody is going to get this. Okay, I'm going to put it in your court. That don't mean that everybody that go to Henry going to get the same number.
That's right.
Because if a Henry knows, well, I'm just using Keem as an example. If he knows what Keem brings to the table and the culture of your church is recording, pocket, structure, not just a bump and shed and go ham every Sunday. That's different from, I need you to do this as much as you can do all that. I seen you at the shed. I don't need that. For this service, for this particular on first Sundays, the pastor want to get right to communion and so and so.
Right.
This all I need from you.
Brent, wait a minute. Watch
go
this.
ahead, go ahead,
Bring
go ahead.
to your point, Pels. Bring your stick bag, not your chops bag.
Thank you.
That's right.
I like it.
That's right.
I like
Bring
it.
your stick bag,
like
not
it.
your chops bag.
And you know what's
like it.
crazy? One of the hardest things I had to learn as a reared church musician is when I was playing for a secular artist is how to dumb down, I call it. Pels know what I'm talking about.
Yes, sir.
When I had to, when I was playing, they was like, that's too much. What? I'm not even really playing that. Nah, just keep it right there. These 3 chords, that's all I need. And I had to learn how that atmosphere worked because it was totally different.
Yeah.
I didn't have to set the atmosphere on that type of situation. So I didn't. That was a whole different situation. So that's where, as you say, the maturity came in to where I had to know where I am.
Yeah.
Because it didn't call for that.
Yeah.
It called for just me to be right here in this box. That's all I need. And from that, other opportunities came.
Absolutely.
And I was able to grow because all I did, and I'm like, this all I gotta do?
Yeah.
This is easier. Like, for real, for real.
Yep. So we got about 15 minutes. And obviously we could stay there for a long time. I want to set up, I guess, our closing of Red Flags, which will probably go into next week.
Oh my gosh.
But I want to set this up because what we did with the first 2 parts of Red Flags is we took like a mock dialogue.
Okay.
All right. So this is what I'm adding today. And I'm adding today to the Red Flag series part 3, unasked questions, which could also be unanswered questions. And again, this formulates at the beginning, the initial conversation between what is most times the pastor and the musical candidate, most times a musician.
Right.
So we're setting it in that, I guess in that framework when I talk about some unasked questions, and it's really going to tie into pretty much everything that we talked about. But here's an unasked question that I want to, I guess, put on the table. And this would be from the pastor asking the musical candidate. All right. And pastors, if you're on, please take notes.
Call them out, Reverend.
Please take notes. All right. So here's one unasked question. Okay. And the question would be, what's 1 or 2 things you feel you could add to our music ministry that's not always common to many other churches?
That's a good question.
Jay, have you ever sat across from a pastor and been asked something to that magnitude?
Nope. To be honest, that would have been something I would have loved to be asked, because it would have showed me that you cared about more than just what you could get. You actually care about your members, and you're not just bringing anybody there simply for the gift.
Right.
What spirit are you carrying that you're bringing there?
Yeah.
So yeah, I would like you to know who you're getting. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's something that definitely should be asked, but I've never been asked that particular question.
Yeah. So, and let me throw out an answer if the question was asked to me. just so you know. Now, before I do that, the idea behind the question, and you highlighted a lot of it. All right. The first thing is, if you've ever worked in sales, you know one of the key things in sales is asking open-ended questions. Open-ended questions meaning that it cannot be answered with just a yes or no. So the person has to engage with you. They have to give details in their answer. So that's the first thing. So now that puts the musician or the musical candidate in a position where they can't just do what they're good at.
Yeah.
They have to talk about it.
Yes. Yes.
That's
right.
good though.
Yeah.
That's good
That's right.
though.
This ain't play a hymn for me. Play this hymn. And those who, can play, they already know the hymn, they can sight read. Yeah, they can do that. But what does that truly tell you outside of what they can do?
Exactly.
This is, all right, what else comes with the package? Now, the question is asked to me, what's one or two things you feel you can add to the music ministry? So the first thing I'm going to say is, I'm going to add a structure that is work oriented with humor.
That's good. I like it.
I'm at a work oriented environment with humor. We're gonna get work done, but I'm not cracking whips and throwing chairs.
Right.
Nah, I can be humor about it. So if I'm and some people they about to call me out. Some people on the line.
Yeah, because you laugh when you pissed off.
But so for instance, if I'm in the position and I have to teach parts, particularly if we're getting into dynamics, I'll tell a alto or a soprano section that's flat very many times. I'll be like, listen, y'all sound like running mascara.
Wow.
That's what that note sounds like.
I'm going to use that.
That sound like
I'm going to use that.
If any of my folk are watching, have I ever said that to you?
Look right here.
Have I ever said that to you? I mean, I've said some stuff, and I admit, teaching parts, but that's a good one.
That is the word of the night.
That is a good one.
That is the word of the night.
Yeah.
I need to, but I wish I could take that from you, because when you get upset, you laugh. Because Austin is the same way.
Yeah.
Austin will smile. He be fuming, but you would never know it.
You never know. No.
I've been trying to learn that all my life.
Wait a minute, Tanya Williams.
Because when I get hot, I'm hot.
Tanya Renee. What does running mascara sound like?
Shout out to my sis.
Yeah.
And he about to answer you too.
Tanya,
Yes,
you know that note that the section is supposed to get on top of, and they trying to climb their way to it, but the climb is not upward, it's downward.
Let me help you. So the note the sopranos sing
That's
on
your
No
camera
Weapon,
right there.
the note that the sopranos sing on No Weapon, Time, you know how they don't get that one note? Right.
Yeah.
But again, going back to the question, that would be one of the things that I would offer is that listen, we gonna come to get the task done.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be an environment where people dread coming to, and I think that's a whole nother topic there. Where our rehearsal environments in our churches, the environment is not very inviting. So particularly when we talk about people that have worked 8 or 10 hours in a day, and they're coming straight. Oh Lord!
Always something.
Look what you started, Henry.
No comment.
Look, Zach.
Keep going.
Shots fired.
But yeah, they didn't work 8 or 10 hours or more in a day, and they're volunteering their time to come out to rehearsal afterwards. Who knows what type of day that they've had at work? And so then to drag themselves in an environment that's not very inviting.
Yeah.
That's another thing I think we as music leaders, we got to do better with that.
Yeah.
We got to do a whole lot better with that.
I often say sometimes when we are in leadership positions like that, as much as it sounds crazy, when we get to, it's like we can't have a bad day.
Yes.
We're not afforded a bad day.
Yeah.
Because
Absolutely.
like you said, because I know as far as I'm concerned, I have people that work
Yeah.
and they sacrifice their time and talent.
Yeah.
So that's why I try to make, rehearsals as fun as I can. I don't mind playing, but when there's certain things that I want to get done, I want to get it done.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I'm not going to keep going over it with you 59,000 times.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
But you're right. We have to know the people that you work with.
Yeah.
Know how to set the atmosphere and make it conducive so that rehearsal can go over smooth. Things like that. You gotta know. You can't start a rehearsal jumping at people. Bring them in.
Yeah.
They've had a long day. Let's
Absolutely.
let's set this atmosphere and bring these people in.
If I can ask a question.
Uh-oh.
I'm scared.
Jay, these are your views and comments, so y'all look at the camera.
I'm
right?
scared.
Drop it like it's hot.
Here's the thing. I remember, and when I go into I remember, I remember back in the day with choir rehearsals, it was like a movie where the director would snap those shoes,
Mm-hmm.
and but they would keep a 60 voice choir.
Yeah.
There wasn't nobody quitting, and if you quit that night and came back the next day. You know what I'm saying? But there wasn't no, they had fun, but they were strict. But what is it about it now where everybody's just so sensitive? And it was just like, but back in the day, like you could talk about, that I'm not naming no names, but you got a lot of those community mass choirs,
They didn't
not
play.
just church choirs.
Yeah.
And God bless, I will say, Maddie Moss Clark.
Yeah.
Who, from what I hear, was was something to work with.
Yeah.
She didn't play.
No.
So when you had choir directors back then, what is it about us now that was just like?
Well,
Look, Zach.
Hey,
I wasn't
listen,
trying to
no.
say that, Zach.
Jay, I got y'all covered.
What?
So I am a perfectionist. I don't call myself one, but I am a perfectionist in what I do. Right? Y'all see this room? It's not a flex. It is what it is.
It is
It's
what it
just
is.
right because I went in. Everybody's literally got their own podcast studio. Everybody's got musician skills, production skills, whatever. What I put my hand on, I'm gonna do. So much so that it messed me up as a pastor. I got accused when I was pastoring of being too hard on the choir. There were certain musicians in-house and out-of-house that people were mad with me. And I'm like, there's a difference in between looking for a certain super tier of excellency and a standard in you saying that you want $300 and more.
Yeah.
I have an expectation that, okay, I need to know you can play in all keys, and I don't mind if the singer is that daggone off and they singing Thank You, Lord in A or G. I'm cool with you transposing the key or something on that. Do your thing, right? I'm not hating, but I need to know that you can do it.
Yeah.
Or else, so when I'm preaching, I cannot stand when a musician is going to say, you're closing in A flat. Negro, that's not where I'm at.
Yeah.
I need you to be where I am.
Yes.
I'm finding where you started playing at, but you trying to get it to somewhere else. I'm saying all to say this. If you going to sing and you want to be a singer, like know where you're at.
Yeah.
There's many places in choirs to sing on. Some people know daggone well they can't hold a soprano note, but they want to sing on the choir that's known for excellency. And if the leader gets soft enough, then they let you in, and now we got to deal with, Zach, bad notes from people, and they're so sensitive because now the scarcity is kicked in because the people that know better are too too bougie, right? They forgot the roots where they came from, right? They forgot roots where they came from.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm always gonna bring that 100, whether it's 10 people there, whether it's 1,000 people there, whether it's a big space, a small space, whether it's a little project or a big project. Keith Pelzer is always going to do his 100, and if I'm not doing it, it's always biting me to make it that 100.
Yeah.
So I'm challenging the people that rather than just talking about what you did or how dope you was or whatever. Just do it. And respect your, protect your yes. You don't have to say yes to everything and complain about it.
Yeah.
But where's your give at? Where's your soul? And where's our honesty? Because the one thing I don't regret, and I'm gonna leave names out of it, it's at least 3 musicians I said they do not have it. It's 20 years later, and they still do not have it. And I give y'all, I submit to y'all, and I get off camera, I submit to you what I listened to on the podcast that was told about, Mark Cuban said it about Simon. He said, people were mad with Simon, but he said, Simon was the person that you done told your little child that they play better than Darian and Jay. You told, you better, and you know daggone well they only playing 3 keys. They transposing and they flexing because everybody's saying, oh baby, you good. You know daggone well your daughter do not sing that well. She's a better drummer, a better organist than a singer, but you told her she sing better than Whitney Houston. And finally, as Mark Cuban said, that child gets on American Idol for the props and everything. And then when they get before Simon, Simon says, you suck. And you know what the problem is? The child goes to the family and says, he said I suck, and so did all them people.
So somebody lied.
Somebody lied. And they look at, well, babe, I mean, you didn't sound as good as the girl before. Oh, now you telling me.
Right. Now
you telling me after this long road up here. And I think that culturally, we don't even have the environment to say, you know what? I don't think drums is for you.
Yeah.
Now you can have the heart to be like, I think you're wrong. Cool. Prove me wrong.
Yeah.
I don't care. But if in that moment I don't see it, I'm not God, but I'm telling you the truth at this moment.
Yeah.
No, you're not a soprano. You're not.
You're not even a choir member. Go Usher.
All right, y'all go ahead and take it away. I'm being honest.
I feel what he's saying.
Oh wait,
because
sidebar. Same thing go for preaching.
Don't go there. Don't go there.
Like, same thing go for preaching. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna leave that.
Just because you sing praise and worship don't mean you're a preacher.
No.
But no, I've gotten reamed out for being so honest.
Yeah.
Come on.
I mean bad. Bad. Because I try to give people grace.
Yeah.
And I never want anybody to have their feelings hurt, especially when we're dealing in ministry aspects. But like he just said, if you don't have it, you don't have it.
Simple as that.
Yeah.
I've had to deal with somebody for years that didn't have it. But because their great-grandmother and mother said that they was good on this particular instrument, they thought that they were God's gift to the nation. I ain't calling no names.
Yeah.
But I was in a Christmas concert mode one time, and I went off.
OWF.
Yep.
To the point that I left and went home in the middle of the concert.
Oh my gosh.
And they had to pause it.
Oh wow.
Because I was like, I can't do it. And you got people like, oh, they're good. They're not.
Yeah.
And it's okay if you're not. Find something else to do.
And it's okay, if you're not.
Yes.
It's okay. Now, don't get me wrong. Everybody has a bad day, and everybody don't have an A and B day. But if you X, Y, and Z all the time, stop.
Yep. That's not your field. That's not your.
And there's nothing wrong with that. And then you get your feelings hurt. Then we get coined as being mean or nasty. That's not it. No, you just don't have it.
Wow.
Not at all.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Not at all. Shouting out a few more watchers before we close out.
watchers.
Sharina Hudson, Waverly Austin, Nick Hill. Thank you guys for tuning in. Let's see, who else did I miss? Clarice Harris.
Oh, so pause. That's my aunt. That's Maddie Moss Clark Jr.
Really?
Hey, Aunt.
Hey, Auntie. She's the one. That one right there.
Oh,
Yep.
really?
That one right there.
Okay.
Thanks so much for tuning in. Josh Footman, Fatima Berg, thank you all for joining the conversation. So, here's what I want to close with. I want to do one more unasked question. And again, this is beginning stages of you potentially, as the pastor of the church, hiring a musical candidate.
He gonna sing us out.
So, and again, keeping in line with the texture of our dialogue today.
Yeah.
Here's my next unasked question, maybe unanswered question from the pastor to the musical candidate. How many people do you think may credit you as instrumental in their musical development?
Why you got me sound like we in a conference or
I
something?
know. A hush just came over the room.
Yeah.
Blessed quietness.
Now, I know, many of us, we champion humility. So, we don't necessarily go around and say, oh, I'm responsible for him. I'm responsible.
Right.
But it's a sober-minded question of, who may credit you as an influence. Because now, again, that speaks to your gift and how it affects other people versus it just being a gift that executes and gets a job done. Because again, if the focus is just, okay, this summer gun, when he touched the organ, man, that thing be on fire.
Yeah.
I got to have him at my church.
Yeah.
If that's the focus, all right.
So basically,
Then-
you're asking, where's your fruit?
Yeah.
Simplify. You simplify the Sunday
Let's break it
school
down.
lesson.
Where's the
He
fruit
went
of your
straight to
labor?
the back of the book.
Yeah.
Put it in layman's terms. Where's the
Practical
fruit of your
points.
labor?
Where's your fruit of your
Practical
labor?
points he went to.
You know.
Because that's going to at least give some insight to how that person can possibly develop
Mm-hmm.
the people in your music ministry. I think you'll agree with me here, Henry, when I say this. A lot of our church music ministries, we have individuals who are gifted in music but undeveloped.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
They're gifted in music, but the reason that they're undeveloped is because their approach has only been volunteer.
Yeah.
That's been the approach. And so if it stays on that level, there's no development. And what's the fruit of that
Right.
when it stays on that level? Well, the fruit of it is they're listening. If you give them music in advance, they're listening to it on the way to rehearsal. And then the next time they listen to it is on the way to church on Sunday.
Wow.
Did y'all? This is my camera.
Yes, sir.
Y'all got you.
Go ahead.
I like flowing with you. Bro.
Y'all,
That's- you know,
my people that I know that's on from my church choir. Did y'all hear what he just said? And I send y'all stuff in advance. Somebody type that in the comment box. Do you still on? Somebody write that on the thing.
talk to
did
him,
y'all hear
Reverend.
that?
Talk to him, Reverend.
I mean, but you absolutely right though. And that's the stuff.
Welcome, Zach.
Zach got you.
That is hilarious. But no, you're absolutely right. You're right. And that's why I think frustration comes in with the musician and the director. It's just like, I gave you this stuff in advance to listen, to learn, to help you so that when it's time to rehearse, we can just bring it all together.
Well,
Henry,
I was always told.
was that Jay? Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, I was always told like rehearsal is to go over what you practiced.
Right.
That's a curse word right there.
Yo, listen, the recording
Right.
recording I was at, these musicians were so phenomenal. And Keem, I'm telling you, when I told Darian about it, you know, him and JD was like, oh yeah, definitely. Like, it was a no-brainer. I'm just talking about the four guys. Shout out to Aaron, Micah, Keem, and Antoine, right?
Yeah.
These four were an example of they understood the assignment. And watch this, y'all. I was called into video, and Keem can tell y'all in the comment section. I was called in to do video, and I came over prepared and ready for pivot and adjustment. So when I'm listening to Henry, and I've been there before, when you're frustrated with people that claim to be gifted, called, anointed, in position, and you have to explain the assignment, I can go all over the place.
Yeah.
If I need Darian to sub bowling, I'm calling him because he knows, and partners, he has his equipment. I'm gonna use that word, so y'all get it. He has equipment in his car that when he goes into the house and he throws the equipment, the bowling ball down the lane, he has different bowling balls to bring his best to the lane. So we call subs based on knowing that they understand without me having to explain the house, explain the difficulties of the lane. They come prepared with their stuff. Musicians should be the same way. So back to that recording, I walked in the house and was told, shout out to our big brother Rodney. He was like, oh, I just need you to do this. But when I got there, this became that. But the cool thing is our relationship is because I don't just do this, I know how to do that also. So to preach, my sneaker preach point for the night is when you call yourself professional and you want this, you got to know how to do that as well. And so if you only master this, but you don't know that as well, that's the difference between knowing your lane and the perfection and the cultivation of what we try to look for in excellency. We get frustrated working with mediocrity, and it's not a stab. It's just saying the restructuring that everybody's doing now, you got to call a spade a spade. Are you able to shift and adjust? As Keem said, do you know how to dial it back? You can't be animal on every track. Can you remember where to go? Can you help discipline others when we're off? Because if I had a bad day, I may need you to help my morale. Darian is gifted in that. To keep the environment together. I'm about to start preaching. I'm sorry. Bro, I felt that. I felt that.
Wow, man.
I felt that. It's
Jay, you want to
frustrating.
close us out with any thoughts, man?
Go for it, Jay.
Man.
That was my close. Y'all go.
No, you good, man. To be honest, man, like this, a lot of jewels tonight, man. A lot of diamonds have been dropped tonight, and as you know, it's already been said. You have to come prepared already, and like Tanya Renee said, you're just tweaking. On rehearsal night, you're just tweaking what's already been learned.
That's what you're supposed to do.
You know, are we supposed to go up twice or 3 times? But either way, we're ready. But if you have to sit 3 and 4 hours to go over the Sopranos note, nah, that's
Frustrating.
One song take 1 hour, Henry?
Frustrating.
1 song per hour. Like, wow. And no wonder it's so hard to do a concert.
Sorry,
with 8 songs.
let me try to put that band back on. My bad.
I'm getting the shakes.
You know. But yeah, so you know, but that's all I got. It was a great night tonight. So
Absolutely.
I'm grateful for everybody that tuned in.
Yes, thank you all. Our brother Henry, thank you for sitting in last minute.
Thank y'all for
Appreciate
having
you,
me.
man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Please know we're gonna have you back.
For sure.
Listen,
Please know we're gonna have you back.
You know how to get here now, Henry.
Reverend Juice, it is all yours.
the backwoods over the river through the deer, around behind the tree, come down the dark alley, down that way.
Darren gonna take us out.
Come on.
Go ahead.
Ain't happening.
Yeah.
Come on, Darren.
Nah, it ain't happening.
Y'all put in the comment section. Y'all want to hear Darren.
Y'all want to hear that? Y'all want to hear Darian
Jay,
sing?
you play for him, Jay. Play for him.
And then listen,
Darren.
listen. I go to church on y'all. And say I was walking and then
Fell out.
I just fell out.
Yo.
That is hilarious.
Zach, you know you welcome up to the table. Everybody make sure y'all check out Zach on Thursdays. He throws in them old school.
Yeah.
Normally I'm running my session during the time he's in there. I'm working in here. But I see you on the phone. So everybody, look, let's support one another. Y'all check him out. You see him. Let's reach out, support one another. You know,
Absolutely.
The table's open. So
Yes,
y'all
sir.
see Darian and you see Jay. You seen us. All right. And look, I want to shout, thank you, Henry. I appreciate you,
Thank
bro.
you. No,
I
thank
do.
you. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you for coming in, man. Welcome to the table at any time. All right.
Absolutely.
Yo, we might the nighttime is the right time, right?
Hey,
Yeah,
man.
like
And we might have to consider at least once a month in the evening.
Nighttime
if
joint
not
kinda
more.
works. So
yeah.
it's just so Keem brings a vibe when he comes over. That's that.
Yep.
Hey, Keem, I showed them the video.
Oh, yeah,
He
man.
said it's living in his head rent free. You can't make that up,
Oh
y'all.
man.
Yo.
Y'all got any other words? I'm out.
Nah,
you
we
want to speak
good.
to your people, Henry? You get the last word. You the visit.
I'm the
That's your
visitor.
camera.
It's
You
my
got a
camera.
special camera.
Well, listen, I want to thank everybody that tuned in tonight. I see some of my
I'ma
church
play
choir
God's
members on
with you,
here. Thank y'all for tuning in. Listen, like you said, it's open. We're never too far where we can't be reached or touched. So if you are somebody in music ministry, just ministry period, or in music and you need help, listen, we here to help. Reach out. Again, don't call me to come play, because I'm not playing nothing at church. I can get you to sing, but I can't give you nothing. I can give you a little chord. That's it. But no, this was great. Darian, James,
Absolutely.
Keith. It's good to just sit in amongst of, this is greatness in this room tonight. To sit in the midst of, great people. And thank you all for this opportunity.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Be with you. in God.
Go ahead, D.
Be with
You got it.
Singing God.
I'm going to give you that.
Be with
Keep
you.
going.
Singing God. God be with you. Until you leave me. Again. Oh, yeah.
We don't do all. Listen, we don't do all that over here. Just keep it straight chord.
Just keep it straight.
Keep it straight chord. We don't do all that over here.
Yo, we out. And I'll throw y'all some joy if I can find the button. Because I got to leave on a song, right? I just got to find it. There it is.
Look first.
I couldn't find it.
Everybody all over the world.
Sing it,
Smile on
Newbie.
your
Enjoy
face.
it, y'all.
Yeah.
We're hollering.
Just for a few minutes, we gon' talk about